Peggy 3.
In previous versions of Football Manager, comparing players could be a complicated process, so this time around we've decided to make it just a little bit easier. When comparing players, it's now really easy to check the differences between their attributes. We've added a bar that illustrates just how much better one player is compared to another in specific areas. For example, if one player has a finishing stat of 7 while the other's is 15, then the bar will clearly show that the second player is a much better finisher than the first. In other words, it's now immediately obvious where an individual player's strengths and weaknesses lie. It's also possible now to see how players compare in the key attributes for the role they're required to perform. Simply click Highlight Key Attributes for Role on the comparison screen, select the position and role that the compared players are required to fill, and the relevant areas are highlighted. It's simple to use, and it means you'll be more confident about the player's ability to perform the required role before you sign him, or even if you've got 2 players in the squad and you're deciding on which player you want in each role. Another addition to FM13 is the ability to compare 2 players' relative abilities in a specific position. In the Comparison tab, select the Detailed Comparison option and then click on Positions. You'll then see the positions of both players rated from bright green for natural down to dark orange for awkward. This gives a much better overview of your squad's depth, which could prove to be crucial to your success over the course of the season, especially if you find yourself in the middle of an injury crisis. But it's not just about the players. For the first time in the series, you can also compare staff, which should prove to be a big help as you assemble your backroom team. Now, when you place a job advert, you'll no longer have to switch back and forward between the different applicants' profiles. Instead, you can now directly compare their attributes as you would for 2 players. It's also possible to compare the applicants against your current staff to make sure that you aren't signing someone who's not as good as the person who's currently doing the job. You can also compare 2 members of your current staff, which should give you a better insight into who should be carrying out what role at the club. So that's how we've improved the comparison system. We think that the new ways to compare players and staff are more intuitive and practical, and they make it easier than ever to get to know the strengths and weaknesses of both your squad and your staff.